Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here. And like we always do on Mondays, we are doing a Course in Miracles. And we do random number generator, miracle roulette on Mondays. But first, we're going to do an opening meditation where we allow ourselves to let go of our day and retire from the world for a few moments that we might seek reality instead. So I don't know about you, but I could really use some reality right about now. And so let's join for about 5 to 7 minutes in just allowing our minds to rest and to open and to see if you can feel and make contact with the spirit of truth within you, the spirit of love that we all share. Hi, Carrie, lovely to see you, and Les too, and Maya, awesome. All right, so we're gonna do our opening meditation, and this is where we're also going to be asking Spirit to choose for us what message from A Course in Miracles that we all hear today. So, all right, so if you can, go ahead and close your eyes and take a breath. And bring your awareness out of your past, out of the future, and allow your awareness to rest right here, right now, in this perfect, precious moment. And take a deep breath. And on your exhale, let go of everything that's not happening right now. Let it go. Whatever you need for peace and healing and happiness is right here where you are. And so we rest into the moment and open our minds and quiet our fearful voices, that we might find the answers that are here but waiting for us. So we breathe and open our minds to what's here right now. We see if we can feel the spirit that resides within us. It is there. It is real, and it loves you. So we take this precious, precious time out of time, to acknowledge that spirit of truth that does reside within us. We acknowledge it. We say hello. We tell it thank you for not going anywhere. And we feel how good it feels. We when you make contact with the spirit of love and truth within you, what does that feel like? What does spirit within you feel like? Breathe it in. Make contact. And feeling this presence that lives within you in the present, let's go ahead and ask it something. Let's ask our higher self, the spirit of truth within us, what is it that you know that I need to hear and remember right now, that I might be returned back to peace and power and inspiration and healing? You know my needs. You know my call for help. And you know exactly how to answer in exactly a way that I can hear it or perceive it. So speak to me, Spirit of truth within me, voice for God within me. Speak to me. Let all voices but spirits be still in me. And silently together, let's go ahead and give permission to our higher selves to decide for us what we read from in A Course in Miracles. This perfect, precious moment do we give to you, Spirit of Truth. Be you in charge. Decide for truth for us. We trust your love for us. We trust that you have answered already whatever is our need. And so we accept your answers. We accept your guidance. We accept your love. And we say, thank you. Thank you for loving us with a love we cannot conceive of, that we don't yet have for ourselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for answering our every prayer that we make to you for peace. In this, as in all things, our prayer is, thy will be done in me. Love's will be done in me. Love's will be done in we, through we. just take a deep breath and open your eyes and bring your awareness back to your body, back to your chair or wherever you're sitting. Beautiful. So wonderful to have you all joining us today. All right, and welcome, Landon. Does Ashley know you're here tonight? Awesome. She'll probably watch. She usually watches, so we'll tell her. Awesome. Okay, so let's go to our random number generator. So did you catch the prayer where we're asking Spirit to decide for us what section out of the course? Okay, this is what we do. It's the random number generator is an amazing, spooky device that we've noticed that Spirit can use to answer us in ways that we could not answer ourselves. So I'm gonna do random number generator. I'm in the text and I'm just hit it and it says, oh, chapter number 1. That's interesting. Okay, so let's see how many sections there are. There's 7 in chapter 1. Okay, in the blue book. All right, thank you. Okay, and it's chapter 1, section 2. Okay, so back to the beginning. Chapter 1. Revelation, time, and miracles. All right, so now I'm going to go to my blue covered edition of a course, the Course in Miracles. You may notice there are a few editions of A Course in Miracles. This blue covered is one of the first editions. And let's go here to chapter 1. Okay, Revelation, time, and miracles. Okay, so I wonder why it is that Spirit chose this. Yes. Yes?
August 16th, 2004.
August, Julie says we did this last time she was here, August 16th, 2004. Okay, so Arya was 3 months old.
Well, you must have come back.
That's when I came off of my maternity leave. Wow. So that was probably one of the first sections I did when I came back from maternity leave. How very interesting. Yeah, I was probably Nina by that time. Awesome. Okay, so, and Agnieszka, am I saying that right? Agnieszka, welcome to our Course in Miracles circle. She says, I live in Poland. It's 3 a.m., but we'll watch tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Am I saying your name right? And Agnieszka, what a beautiful name. Beautiful. And hello to Poland. Les says, there's nothing random about God's plan for me. Beautiful. And hi, Monica, and hi, Saki. All right. Saki, I think it's probably, around 3 a.m. in where you're at in Liberia also. So beautiful. All right. Well, I just love it that we are all, that we're joining all over the world. I mean, the idea that we're joining on these ideas all over the world makes me very happy, because what does the world need more than these ideas? What, of all things?
Anna's gone global.
Anna's gone global. I love it. I love it. All right. So as we read through this, pay attention to what it is answering for you. We said, Spirit, you know what we need. We want your answers. See if you can hear Spirit's specific answers for you today. Right. Now, Revelation, time, and miracles. So we're in chapter 1, section 2. So we are right at the beginning of A Course in Miracles. So if you're new to A Course in Miracles, it's so perfect that we went right back to the beginning of the curriculum. And you guys out there, if you're new to A Course in Miracles, hey, this is for you too. We're going back to the beginning of the curriculum. This is the second section in the first chapter. Okay, so we're at the foundation. These are the foundational ideas of A Course in Miracles. So chapter 1, section 2, Revelation, time, and miracles. It says, revelation induces complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear. How good does that sound? How would you like to have one of those? Hey, I just had a complete and temporary suspension of doubt and fear. And boy, was it good. It says, revelation reflects the original form of communication between God and God's creations. And revelation involves the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships. But you may have noticed physical closeness cannot achieve the what? The extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships. So physical closeness can't achieve that, but revelation can. So that's revelation. So I'm going to stop at that because we're going to talk about revelations, because the next is going to go into miracles. Okay. All right. So very interesting about revelation. And the revelation is the original form of communication between us and God and all of God's creations. So in our original state, we are in complete communication with our Creator. That's what's going on when we were first created. Okay, hold on. This is not plugged in. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, that's where it all started. We were in complete communication with our Creator. That's how it all began. That's how creation began. And this kind of communication, this form of communication, involves extremely personal sense of creation. Okay, that is us being fully and completely creative. When we are in that form of communication with our source, that's us being extremely personally creative, fully creative. And then it says, and when you are experiencing this form of communication with your source, you are experiencing temporary suspension of doubt and fear. So that's what revelation is. I'm in communication with my source, and I'm experiencing my own full creativity, and I'm not experiencing any doubt or fear. Now, how does that sound? How about some of that for a change? Okay. You think a weekend is restful and restorative? How about that? And that is what we call revelation. Now, it says, and this kind of revelation, what does it do? It does what? It is the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships. So what it's saying here is that's what we're seeking in our physical relationships. We're seeking a sense of creativity and communication that is so powerful that it completely does what? Suspends all doubt and fear. Okay, right? Isn't that what we're seeking in our physical relationships? I'm looking for an experience of communion, connection, communication, closeness, where I am feeling fully creative, fully empowered, and no sense of self-doubt or fear. Yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what we're looking for in our physical relationships. And notice that most of us have not achieved that in our physical closeness relationships. It says physical closeness can't achieve it. All right, so that's what we were looking for in our physical relationships, but never found it. What we were wanting our physical relationships for, that is only something that you could experience fully and completely when you're in communication with your source. Wow. And so really, the Course in Miracles says that we use our physical relationships as a substitute for the form of communication and the ecstasy and the creativity that we really can only experience in communication with our Source. And that's why we experience so much disappointment in our physical relationships. We were looking for that which we could only experience fully with our Source. Okay. But when you let yourself have that original form of communication with your Source, and you're back in communication with your Source, then every relationship is experienced as satisfying. When you're not going to the physical relationships for the communication with your Source, ecstasy, creativity, then every relationship is satisfying because you're not trying to get from it what really you get only from your communication with Source. Wow. So that's section 2 of the first chapter. Okay, so that has a lot of implications to it. Like, for instance, that our Creator wants to be in communication with us. That also implies that we were created from communication. Our Creator communicated us. To say God created me is to say my Creator communicated with me. So communication is creation. But I've been trying to be creative with everything else besides communication with my Source. The way I've been trying to experience creation is by getting and doing and possessing and controlling and manipulating and doing a lot of getting. And then wondering why I'm not ecstatically happy. So, good to remember that our Creator created us by communication and wants to and is in communication with us. And as we accept that and experience that communication, we experience revelation, creativity, extreme personal closeness, and satisfaction. Wow. So there you go. Tony says the only real love is God's love. Exactly. Yes, Tony, that is some deep stuff. And hi, Patty. Hi, Patty. Send me and Julie's love to Rose. So, beautiful. All right. So that is something very interesting about revelations. Now it's going to talk about something else called miracles. It says miracles, however, are genuinely interpersonal, and miracles result in true closeness to others. So in other words, revelation is communication that unites you directly with Source, whereas miracles unite you directly with your brothers and your sisters. Okay? So that's the difference between revelation and miracles. Neither revelation nor miracles emanates from consciousness, but both revelations and miracles are experienced in consciousness. So, in other words, consciousness is the state that induces action, though consciousness does not inspire action. What does that all mean? It means this: you are free to believe what you choose, and what you do attest to what you believe. That's what that is all saying. All right. So that was the end of paragraph 1. So I'm going to take a breath and see if you guys have any questions, and then we're going to go through that. Beautiful. Hi, Matt. Lovely to see you. Saki says communication with your Creator is the best. Les says, I want to experience closeness with others. And Demi says, such beautiful messages. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Okay. So we got the revelation where you are in communication with your Source. Okay. How wonderful to be reminded that that is an option and to remember what it produces. The other thing is miracles, which is produces genuine closeness with others. So we've got union with Source, revelation, and we've got true closeness with others. Now, we were trying to have true closeness with others to get what we really can only get from our relationship with our source. That did not work. Our physical closeness did not produce that suspension of doubt and fear and personal closeness and creativity. But what does connect us with others is something called miracles. Okay? And miracles are something that are genuinely interpersonal. That's between us and each other. Okay? And it says so, and miracles are something that connects us. What is it that connects us? In a true closeness is, what's a miracle? Correct perception. Seeing things through the eyes of love. Seeing things through the eyes of truth. So according to Course in Miracles, a miracle is a correct perception. So when you see things according to how love sees things, when you see yourself, when you see your life, when you see what you're going through, when you see things different than the way you learn to see things, and you see them through the eyes of love, that's a miracle, and that produces genuine interpersonal closeness to other people. Okay? So interesting how we're talking about communication with God, closeness with God, then we're talking about closeness with others. All right, so I'm going to change the music. What a radical concept. All right, here we go. So I guess we're talking about closeness here. And then after it talks about miracles and revelation, then it says, you are free to believe what you choose, and what you do attests to what you believe. Okay? So what determines what we do? Is it random? Is it determined by our past? What you do is determined by what you believe. Okay? And that is a foundational thought from A Course in Miracles. So you'll always know what you or other people believe, even if the belief is way down in your subconscious, because what you believe is manifest in what you do. And there's only two things to believe in, and that is either love or fear. So you're always demonstrating always what you believe by what you do. Either you're believing that love is the truth and what you're doing manifests that, attests to that, or what you're doing attests to the fact that you believe that fear is real right now. Okay, because those are the only two realities, love or fear. And A Course in Miracles says you are testing in your actions and your behaviors all the time which one you believe is true. Now they can't both be true. A Course in Miracles says that love and fear are the only two emotions that we are capable of, and everything else comes from that. But fear is the opposite of love. He says, but love is everything. Love is all-encompassing. So if love is all-encompassing, then fear is not real. So is it either love, which is true and real, or there's fear, which is showing you what's not true, what's not real. And one or the other. You're always testing to what you believe, love or fear. Which one's real right now? Is fear real right now? Well, then my actions are going to show that I'm afraid. Is love the only thing that's real? Okay, great. Well, then my actions are going to show that I believe that, hey, only love is real. Don't sweat it. So don't sweat the ego. All right. So that is paragraph number 2. Okay, any questions or comments on that so far?
So would you say our Creator is in communication with us all through the day.
Yes.
And when would you say that a revelation is that awareness?
Yes, I would absolutely say that. So thank you for saying that, Dan. So like the Course says that, was it the voice for God speaks to me all through the day? Right. So that God, our source, is speaking to us all through the day, and a revelation is where we're aware of that.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Exactly. You know, so a revelation is where we want to be in communication with our source, and communication that's going on all the time. The Course tells us that our source is always communicating with us, and notices that we've blocked the channel. We've blocked it out, and our Creator knows that. But when we are in communication with our Creator, then look at the result. Revelation. Revelation. What's revelation? A temporary but complete suspension of doubt and fear. And when you have a moment like that, where for a few moments there is no doubt and fear, the whole universe of possibilities opens up before you. For a moment, just a moment, you see, whoa, my goodness, what's real, what's possible, what could be, what is so. And it's a revelation, you know. So, because the only thing that's keeping us from seeing the grandeur and the glory of the universe is our doubt and our fear. That's it. If we weren't having doubt and fear, we would know the truth. We would see everything.
And that shift in perception is the miracle.
Exactly. And that's the shift in the perception. I go from perceiving a ton of doubt and fear, and then the next thing I know, I don't have any doubt or fear. And what I'm experiencing without the doubt and fear is like, wow, you know, something that you could have never imagined yourself.
So I need to add a clarification to what you asked about being aware of God's presence in our lives. Because if we skip ahead a couple of paragraphs, it says that revelation is not reciprocal. It proceeds from God to you, but not from you to God. In paragraph 5.
Yes. Say it again.
Revelation is not reciprocal.
Yes.
It proceeds from God to you, but not from you to God.
Exactly. So revelation is something that comes from, it's a communication from our source, and then we then extend that awareness to each other, and then that's where miracles come from. So
people that scream out, I've had a revelation, it's really, I'm aware of a
yes,
revelation.
exactly. When people say I had a revelation, what happened was they had a complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear, and they saw what was so, or what was possible, or, you know, what was so. And what's so, when you see what's so, because your blinders have been taken off, you see that there is a love from source that is pouring out upon you every second of every minute of every hour of every day. That there is a love pouring out over you that, you know, that you could have never, ever, ever conceived of. That much love, that kind of love, which also means power. The love that's been pouring out from our source is also power, meaning creative power, creativity, to create along the lines of your own creation.
If you could truly embody this concept, you don't need much more of the book.
Absolutely. This book is holographic, Absolutely, completely. Every single sentence contains the whole of the thought system. This is a thought system. This is a curriculum whose purpose is to help you to unlearn the old thought system that you learned from the past about guilt and separation and limitation and death and all that, and to help you learn a new thought system based on guiltlessness, based on no separation. There is no separation, okay? And also a new thought system based on there is no sin, there is no guilt, there is no sin. Okay? So this is a curriculum helping us to learn a new thought system, which is pretty much what we need, okay? The old thought system, you can see what it has produced. You can see what it's produced in your life. We can see what it has produced in the world. The old thought system based on separation, sin, and guilt has produced an entire world at war in one way or another. War with each other, war with viruses, war with poverty, war with with nature. And so this is a thought system that gives us, that corrects that old thought system. Beautiful. Okay. So, and then Les says, why would I ever choose to block this kind of closeness? Beautiful, whether it's closeness with source or closeness with others. Very good question, Les. And Course in Miracles says it's just because we're so identified with our separate identity called the ego that now we believe, like our ego believes, that union with each other and with source would be the death of us, because it is the death of the ego. And so the ego is afraid of this kind of union with source and true closeness with others, because the ego is separation. And so as we accept the fact of union, the ego trembles and begins to crumble. And as it loses, its life force energy that we had given it. So, great question, Les. Hi, Carolina. I love it. And Tony says, preach it, sister. All right, beautiful. Yes, okay. Thank you for your comments. Love y'all's comments. And if you guys have questions, just write it in all caps, and then that catches my eye. And feel free to ask away. I love your questions. Okay, so now we're in paragraph 2, and now we're going to go back to talking about revelation. It says revelation is intensely personal. What does that mean? That means revelation cannot be meaningfully translated. And that's why any attempt to describe the revelation you had in words is impossible. Have you ever noticed that? When you have a revelation, you try to describe it to other people, and you're trying to describe it in words, and people are like, that's nice. And you're like, oh, I'm trying to describe a revelation, and they cannot get it at all. And this is explaining why that is, that when you have a revelation, you try to describe it to others in words, it falls flat on its face. It says, because your revelation was intensely personal, which means it cannot be meaningfully translated. It says revelation is something that induces only experience. So what you experience in revelation is just an experience. It says you can't, it only induces experience. Miracles, on the other hand, induce action. So revelations induce only experience. Miracles, on the other hand, induce action. And that's why miracles are more useful now, because of their interpersonal nature. In this phase of learning, working miracles is important because freedom from fear cannot be thrust upon you. Revelation is literally unspeakable because revelation is an experience of unspeakable love. wow. That's why you can't speak out a revelation, because it's a revelation of unspeakable love, which is the same thing as unspeakable peace, unspeakable joy. Okay? Of course, it says love and joy and peace are all synonyms for the same reality, the same truth. Okay? So revelation is something that you can't describe in words. It produces only an experience of unspeakable love. You can't describe it to others. But miracles are something that are maybe more practical and more useful in this phase of learning, because miracles are something that produce, they are interpersonal. Okay, so right now that's more practical, that we do things called miracles that help us to relate more peacefully with each other, with other humans, with the people we're in relationship with. You know, that's what's most practical in this phase of learning. And why is that? That's because if I can't give and receive love without fear with another person, how am I going to be able to do that with God? So really, it's like, what does it do? It says miracles are important because freedom from fear cannot be thrust upon you. So revelation, communication with God, is like no fear, freedom from fear, fear gone temporarily. Well, we aren't ready for that, apparently. But what we can do is miracles or correct reception with each other, where we practice releasing ourselves from fear a little bit. Okay? And that's how we do it. That's how we release ourselves and each other from fear in a speed or that we can handle. We release each other from a little bit of guilt, and we let the other person release us from guilt a little bit. Release from guilt, release you from guilt, release me from guilt. Okay? That's what prepares us to have an experience of complete suspension of fear and doubt that we have when we are in communication with our Creator. Okay? So we practice releasing each other from fear. We practice releasing each other from fear. Oh, that's okay. See, I can have some release from fear and I won't die. It's okay. I can experience a little release from fear, a little love, a little healing, and I don't freak out. My ego's like, okay. So it says, complete freedom from fear cannot be thrust upon you. So in other words, we ain't ready for that. Right? So we practice with each other. We practice release from fear with each other. How do we do that? We release each other from guilt as best we can. Okay? We tell people, it's okay, you're innocent. It's all right, you're innocent. We release people from guilt when they make mistakes. Beautiful. Then, now it's going to go back to revelation. Revelation is literally unspeakable because it's an experience of unspeakable love. All right, any questions on that paragraph? Okay. Okay. All right, so we're talking about our relationship with others and our relationship with ourselves. Notice how it's all about relationships. You notice that? That's all it's talking about right now is relationships. You're related. We're related. We're relating. We're here to relate. We came from relating. We're supposed to learn how to relate better, with more love, with less fear. We're learning how to remember to relate to our source. You know, we've gotten so far away from talking to our source. It's like we have this most loving parent that ever was, and we never call him. We never talk to him. It's like we forgot we had this brilliant, you know, kingly, queenly mother, father, God, and we never talked to them. Like the prodigal children. We are the prodigal children. We are the children of this unspeakably loving creator, source. And we forgot completely, and now we think we're separate, poor, guilty, lost souls, having no idea that we are royalty. We are spiritual royalty. We truly are the prodigal children. And you can see here that it's all about relating, coming back into relationship and communication with our source, and entering into true closeness with others through miracles, which are ideas that release us from fear, bit by bit. Beautiful. Okay, so that was paragraph 2. Any questions or comments before I go on to paragraph 3? Deep thoughts. It's pretty deep, and this is the beginning of the curriculum. But I'm glad to be reminded that A Course in Miracles is all about relationships. That's where it's at. And why is A Course in Miracles all about relationships and returning back into holy relationship? Because the one problem that we experience as a species, the one problem that we have is the belief in separation. The belief that we are split, that we're not one, that we're separate. And so that's why, of course, the answer is always going to be, nope, you're related. Nope, you're connected. You're connected with Source. You're connected with all souls. You're connected with all of life. Connected, joined, unity. That's what it's all about. Yes?
And connecting this to the universal curriculum as an example, in Buddhism, they talk about the concept of emptiness.
Yes.
And emptiness means, really means emptiness from, empty of what?
Yes.
Empty of a separate self.
Yes.
Everything is empty of a separate self.
Yes.
It's impossible to be separate.
Yes, exactly. And that really is the like you said, the universal curriculum. The Course in Miracles says it is only one version of the universal curriculum. There's a universal curriculum that our whole universe needs to learn and is learning. And and all of the universal curriculum is that God's creations are guiltless and we are one. That's basically it. And there's many forms of the universal curriculum. Of Course in Miracles is only one of them. And it's saying the same thing. Greg was telling me the other day he was listening to Dolores Cannon, and he was like, she's saying the same as this person, the same as this teacher, the same as this teacher, same as this teacher, and it's all unity. It's all one. We're one. And as we get that awareness, we evolve. We move forward in our learning, in our evolution. I was been going back to reading Urantia, and they were saying that the higher realms and the higher spheres, they know that. They know that, and then their worlds are based on that as fact. Can you imagine living in a world that's based on where everyone knows that they're all connected to each other and Source and all of life and all of creation? Can you imagine what living in that world would be like? Wow.
Oh, happy day.
Happy day. My goodness. Yeah, that's like the happy dream, or the real world, as the Course in Miracles calls it. The Course in Miracles talks about the real world. And it says that the real world is here and existing simultaneously and is absolutely available. You could see that. That's a miracle when you have a corrected perception. You're able to see what you weren't able to see before when fear and doubt clouded or closed your eyes. That's what a miracle is. It's where fear and doubt comes off of your eyes for a moment, and you see what is, and it's beautiful, and it's glorious, and it's ecstatic, and it's so unspeakably loving, you can't even describe it to somebody.
It's a revelation.
It's a revelation. What you see and what you experience without fear and doubt is a revelation. And it's all right, you will not be able to describe it. It's just an experience. It's only the miracles, meaning the release from guilt and fear that we extend to each other. That is what we will be able to share with each other with words.
There's a part that you read where freedom from fear cannot be thrust upon you. I would be okay with deleting that cannot. I would declare it here now. Bring it
Yes,
on.
yes.
I'll take the thrust.
I love it. Well, what a spiritual badass you are, Dan. I love it. Yes, and that is the result of practicing miracles and being, what is he said, practicing miracles, working miracles.
Working miracles.
That's because you have been in the phase of learning of working miracles for a long time. And so now you're not as afraid of that experience of revelation, of unspeakable love.
Yeah.
You know, so.
The story Ken Wapnick was telling about Helen Schuckman asked Jesus to remove her of her fear, and he says, I won't do that. He says, what I can do is help you see in others through the eyes of Christ.
Yes, right. Yes.
I can't take your fear away from you, but I can, and that's the shift in perception.
Right. Exactly.
See another through the eyes of Christ. What's it say? We cannot wake ourselves up, but we can be awoken.
Yes.
Simply by forgiving another of their illusion.
Exactly.
Seeing them through the eyes of Christ.
Exactly, through the eyes of love. The Course in Miracles says that if God or Spirit just came in and just thrust, revelation upon you, or thrust the truth on you, that it would, what it would be doing is teaching you that you couldn't do it for yourself. And through here, he's saying, and you can do it for yourself through miracles. You can release yourself from fear by extending release from fear and guilt to others. And so then when now you're like, oh, I can do it for myself. So I don't have to have something outside of me do it for me. Our teacher wants us to know you don't need me to do it for you. You have what you need within you to release yourself from fear by doing it for others, by seeing others correctly through the eyes of love. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so was that.
Beautiful. I love it. Les says, beliefs in separation kill relationships. Relationship eradication. Very good. Hi, Jerry. Jerry says, for some people, it takes a miracle just to relate to them. Indeed. All right. So now we're on paragraph 3. It says, awe should be reserved for revelation, to which awe is perfectly and correctly applicable. Awe is not appropriate for miracles. Why? Because a state of awe is worshipful, implying that one of a lesser order stands before their creator. And the truth is, you are a perfect creation, and you should experience awe only in the presence of the creator of perfection. Okay? So awe is not appropriate for miracles or for each other. Okay? And it says, the miracle is therefore a sign of love among equals. And what we're saying here is equals should not be in awe of one another. Why? Because awe implies inequality. And so awe is an inappropriate reaction to me, says the voice of the Course, the author of the Course. An elder brother is entitled to respect for their greater experience and obedience for their greater wisdom. An elder brother is also entitled to love because the elder brother is a brother. And the elder brother is entitled to devotion if that elder brother is devoted. And so then our teacher, our elder brother says, it is only my devotion that entitles me to your devotion. And then our elder brother, the voice of the course, says, there is nothing about me that you cannot attain. In other words, I have nothing that does not come from God. The difference between us now is that I have nothing else that comes from God, besides what comes from God, which leaves me in a state which is only potential in you. Wow. So I love that. So the voice of the Course, Jesus, the author of the Course, is telling us that awe should only be in revelation when you are in the presence of your Creator. That's the only time when awe is appropriate. Because awe implies that one of a lesser, a lesser order stands before their Creator. So it says, but when you are in the presence of each other, or even our teacher, awe is not appropriate, because awe implies inequality. And everyone and everything that has come from Source is equal. The only non-equality is us and Source, because Source came first and created us. And that's the only inequality that's going on there. You know, one created the other. But when it comes to us and even the great teachers and Jesus and Buddha and Krishna, all the great teachers, it says that the miracle is a sign of equality among equals. So a miracle is where we go equal, 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 everyone. Equal, 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 equal. I love you as my equal. I am no more, no less than you. So the Course in Miracles uses the word Son, S-O-N, in here a lot, and then it defines the Son, Son of God, as equal. So son, or you could say daughter, means my equal. My brother or sister means my equal. And that is, you know, a miracle. When we address each other, see each other as equals. When you see another person as an equal, it's the same as loving them. A loving perception, to love someone, is the same as to know we are equal. We come from the same source. Wow. So that's what a miracle is. We see each other as our equal, that's a miracle, because how are we trained to see other people? We're trained to do comparison, 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 competition, competition, comparison, right? When we perceive other people, were we taught to see this is my equal? Everything I have, they have. Everything they have, I have. What we have is all equal. They were given the same as me. I was given the same as them. What we have is equal. Heck no. We were taught the opposite. You know, to look for what it is that they have that you don't have, and then you work a plan to get it. Or, you know, appreciate what you have that they don't have and try to protect yourself from them, that they don't come after you, try to get what you have to take it for themselves. That is not equality. That is, it says, when you see people as not your equals, you set them up as a competitor. So you can't you can't love somebody whom you don't see as the same as you don't see as equal. So love and the perception of equality absolutely, completely go together. If you don't see somebody as your equal, all you can do is be worried that they are going to somehow be in competition with you. And now you've got to protect yourself against them. As a matter of fact, when you see someone as an enemy, the Course in Miracles, when you see someone as unequal, you've literally just made them an enemy. Deep. And then the Course in Miracles also says that's the basis of our special relationships. Not equality, not, I'm so glad have been given by the universe all the same love and power. No, we see each other as having something I don't have that I'd like to get. They see something they don't have that is in me that I have that they want to get. And then we come together to, like what the Course says, to take what the other one, what we don't have that the other one has, to take it from them, thinking that once we take it from them, then our possession is made complete. We'll be happy. That's what A Course in Miracles describes as the process at the core of the special relationship, which means the fearful, guilty, angry, conflictual relationships that we are all too familiar with. Okay? They're not based on equality. You know, it's like they have something I don't have. I would like to get that. Oh, I have something you want. I have something you don't have that you want, and you have something that I don't have that I want. It's a match made in heaven. Yeah, I remember being a kid and having my dad tell me, well, that's how you do it. You look for relationships where they have what you don't have, and vice versa, and that's the one. So, okay, so very important concept there. Remember, we're talking about relationships. Okay. Now, but it's all our teacher and the voice of the Course, whom this Course in Miracles came from, is telling us this. I'm equal with you. Yes, I may seem like, oh, I'm so great. He said, I'm equal. We're equals. And so Jesus is saying, I'm an elder brother. That's all I am. I'm not God. I'm not above you. You know, I didn't create you. We are siblings of the one source. And so our elder brother is saying that the only thing that makes me worthy of your devotion is because I'm devoted to you. So he's saying, be devoted to somebody only if they're devoted to you. You know, that's what our elder brother and teacher, voice of the Course, is telling us. That the only reason that we should be obedient is because of our teacher's greater wisdom. So our teacher is saying, I'm not unequal. The reason why, you could be obedient and devoted to me is not because I'm more than you or greater than you. I'm equal to you, but I'm devoted to you. So it says, it's only my devotion that enables me to your devotion. And then our teacher says, there's nothing about me that you cannot attain. Let's just let that sink in for a moment, okay? The voice of the Course, the one the Course in Miracles came from, identifies himself as Jesus, and he's saying there's nothing about me that you cannot attain. Why? Because we're equal. Because God creates with perfect equality. That's what A Course in Miracles teaches. God creates with perfect equality. So whatever God created, they all have the same equal power, equal love, equal holiness. And then our teacher is saying the only difference between us is that I have nothing but what God gave me. So we've all been given the same by God, but our teacher, that's all he has retained. We have received everything from God, but then we've kept a lot of BS, a lot of stuff that God didn't give us, like fear and guilt and separation. Okay? So that's the only difference between us and our teacher, the voice of the Course. And so then our teacher says, this leaves me in a state which is only potential in you. Okay, so our teacher, the voice of the Course, who identifies himself as Jesus, is basically telling us something pretty powerful. so powerful that we were just like, well, whatever. Imagine that. Where have we heard things like that about Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or any of the great spiritual teachers throughout time, where we taught that we were equal with them? Not at all. We've been taught, you worship, you're so unworthy, you need to worship them because you're unworthy, and they're so much greater, they're so much higher than you, and you're unworthy, and so you need to worship from a lower order perspective, begging, oh please. And our teacher's like, nope. The truth is that we're equal. We were both given the same by our Father, Mother, God source. All right. So, so equality is the practice of equality, the remembrance of equality and the practice of it. That's what produces miracles. When you remember that and you practice that with either, the spiritual masters or with your brothers and sisters, you are working a miracle. You are a miracle of love. A miracle of healing is extending from you. That's how we do it. That's how he did it. That's how she did it. That's how we are going to do it. Okay? One of the ways that Jesus or any other healers in the past have healed was they didn't see any differences. So when Jesus went up to the leper, he wasn't like, oh, poor leper. If only he could be so spiritually wise, powerful like me. When he walks up to a leper, he didn't see any inequality. He didn't see any differences. He didn't see any inequality. He saw the same. This is my equal, equally loved by God, equally loved, equally valued by God. And then, poof, they healed. Now they're not. Now they don't have leprosy anymore. Now they're not dead anymore. That's how it's done. Wow, so beautiful. Now, and so what if that's the way we were with each other? What if that is the way we saw other people? Whoever it was, wherever you are. What if you walk up to somebody in a gas station, you walk up to somebody on the job, and you're like, this is my equal. This is my equal. Hi, equal. This is my equal. Equal, equal, equal. And there's no sense of comparison or competition. And now there's no need to defend yourself. And there's nothing to get or possess. What are your relationships going to be like? What is your world going to be like when that's the kind of relationships that you make and you form wherever you go? People are going to feel real good to have you come in their presence. They'll be like, man, when she comes around, I just feel like equal. I feel like equal, not lesser or more. So now that is an interpersonal miracle. When you remember that and practice that, that produces genuine interpersonal closeness. Okay. Physical presence doesn't produce the genuine personal closeness, but the awareness and the practice of equality does. Now people want to be close. Now people feel safe to be close. Now you feel safe to be close with people, because now you don't have to worry about them leaving. And they will feel safe to be close because they don't have to worry about you leaving. Why? Because we all have the same of the good stuff. So we don't have to be afraid in our relating, because we all have the same. Typically, we're afraid to relate because I'm afraid, well, if I give you my love, you might run away and take my love with you, and then I won't have that love. And then you'll take that love and you give it to somebody else. Okay, so now I'm afraid to relate. Okay, and then they're afraid to relate to me for the same reason, because they don't see themselves equal. So you can see how it's true that that perception of equality does produce genuine interpersonal closeness, meaning where people feel safe to connect. And that's very rare, unfortunately. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have tons and tons of fear of connecting, fear of relating, you know? Because if you're relating with somebody who's got something that you don't, then you're always going to be afraid that they will take it and leave. And if somebody's relating to you as an unequal, and they see you as having something they don't, then they're going to be trying to get something from you. They're not going to be giving you love, they're going to be giving you fear in the form of possession. You know, and we know how that ends up. Fatal attraction. Wow. So, yes.
Well, it's, where, for me, I can cue in on that with something like, I give this holy instant to you in that situation where I have that anxiety or that fear or that doubt. And then I might go up and say, oh, that's right, this equality, and that the spirit within you is the same in you.
Yes, right.
There's no differences here.
Yes.
You know, oddly enough, I don't know where it came from. Before you receive communion in the Catholic Church, the prayer you say is, I am not worthy to receive you.
Yes.
You can always say the word, and I shall be healed. And truly, the Course is so clear that God doesn't forgive you because He never condemned you.
Yes.
You were always equal to begin with.
Exactly.
And it truly, that message came to me, you know, because I went to grade school and junior high, and even graduated from like Catholic high school. Going to church frequently, you know, almost every day, and hearing that truly, if you could truly hear that this is just a reminder that we're here together. You know, like Jesus is saying that there's nothing that I have done that you cannot do.
Exactly.
How different life would have been
if we had heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all heard in our religious institutions how unequal and unworthy we were compared to whoever was the deity that was being worshipped in that religious house, the house of worship. You know, you're not worthy. And to put that in the prayer before communion, you have to say, I am unworthy to receive it. Wow.
You're bombarded with
Yeah.
guilt.
Well, that was obviously just a power grab.
Absolutely.
Put another human in between you and
Exactly.
to intercede on your behalf.
Exactly.
Pure power grab.
Exactly. Yeah, and and talk about a power grab, you know, our religions have done that power grab, you know, for this, you know, from the beginning of, you know, our recorded history that we know of, doing the power grab where they taught us from the beginning, you're not equal with Source and you're not equal with each other. You know, you're not worthy, you're not equal. God has given some things to these very special people whom we have some idols of and we have some statues of. God gave to them something that God didn't give to you, because you're, not worthy. So, but if you'll pay the price and beg real good, then maybe you will receive some kind of, spiritual dispensation. Maybe you can go where they are now, maybe. But did you do your tithe? So you can see how this idea of equality and how God creates with perfect fairness is a humongous game changer. Absolutely, totally game changer. And that's why this curriculum is a complete game changer, is a absolutely, truly new thought system that's based on equality. And as you see now, if you can even accept the equality with Jesus or Krishna or Buddha or Moses or whoever were those spiritual geniuses from the past that we know of, what if you could accept your equality with them? I mean, what then? Wow. And that's what our teacher is saying right here at the beginning of the book. We're equal, we're equal, we're equal, we're equal, we're equal. What I can do, you can do. What I have, you have. Dang. And the only reason that we would do devotion or obedience to this teacher is because he's been devoted to us, obviously.
And I like the way he says a few chapters later that you're not required to be crucified.
Yeah, exactly. That was my teaching contribution. Yeah, you don't need to do it like I did it. That was my special teaching contribution. What our teacher here, it's like the religions are like, you need to worship them, And our teacher here is saying, actually, I'm asking that you see yourself as equal to me. Okay, why? Because the fact is that God creates with perfect fairness, meaning God creates with perfect equality, which means what God gave to one creation, God gave to them all. The end of the story. Okay. All right. So, wow. 8:20. Okay, that's weird. All right. So, let's see. It's 8:20. So maybe I will just stop here. I'll just stop here, and then we're going to do an integration meditation, and maybe even try to do some of these ideas. Oh my gosh, how do you do that? All right. Demi says the special anointed, etc. Exactly. I love it. Beautiful. Les says practice equality. Very good. Love that you heard that. Very nice. Okay. All right, so just before we go to announcements, how about you guys in here? What is it that you heard that you would like to remember? So speak it out so that you can remember it better. What do you want to remember and maybe even use from what we've heard today in this section?
Well, it's a huge shift in your perception.
Yes.
And you have to look at each person you encounter with that. You can't, you can't look at them like, well, what are they? You go on and you think about them and you gotta go, no, they're me, I'm them.
That's
created
right.
by our Creator.
Mm-hmm.
Let all that other stuff go.
Yes.
I don't care if they look cuter than me or not, or it has nothing to do with all that stuff we were taught.
Yes, exactly.
All those years.
All those years. We've been taught to look for differences.
Exactly.
We've been taught to
And there's
look
hard
for
change on it.
inequality.
It isn't, but it's something you
Yes.
have to focus on.
You have to relearn how to see things in a new way. Like you were saying, it's huge
And
shift.
then I think he has more than, he lives in a bigger house. Now.
Yes.
That materialism thing is huge.
Absolutely.
We were all thought when we were younger, we're to strive for, I'll get my degree, I'll get this, I'll get the best guy, I'll get, whatever you thought you needed to
Yes.
be happy.
Yes,
And then you're not.
exactly.
Because it's all used, it's never important.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you have to learn that as you go, unless you've been taught this when you were 5, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Start out with a course.
Yes.
That's it's a constant reminder of looking just at the person.
Yes.
Not what they have.
Yes. It's a practice.
It is.
It's a practice,
Very
like
much
some philosophies or spiritual philosophies or religions have different practices, like you mentioned, communion. Course in Miracles teaches the practice of seeing equality,
Exactly.
where you used to be doing contrast, comparison, inequality, competition. I mean, what were we taught when we were little? Get more than others. That's what you should do.
Get this race and you'll run fast.
Yes.
You'll get a prize.
Go get education and go do this and that, and then you'll have more than others, and you'll be happy. Okay. It's the American dream.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome, my dear. Love you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you, guys.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, got a lot of Libra birthdays going on these days. All right.
See, I got releasing fear and guilt from another is how I get my release.
Beautiful. Releasing people from guilt and fear is how you get your release.
Right.
Beautiful. And it's also the way to produce genuine interpersonal closeness with others. Exactly. So, you know, if you're feeling like you don't have enough genuine personal closeness with others in your life, this section speaks to how to really have that. Okay? And it doesn't come from anything we learned. It comes from. All right. Anybody else?
The interactive miracle that I have with the people around me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I like the way you tied love and equality together. That first of all, part of what I heard was that that's the clear distinction between what the world calls love and special relationships.
Yes.
Love and equality, but I also took that a step further is to tie back to something Dan was saying earlier about how I see that now, having that married ideas of equality and love as one of the ways, or the way that we see the face of Christ in
Yes.
one another.
Beautiful.
When those two were put together.
Yeah, thank you. Matt was saying that he loves the connection between the idea of equality and love, and that truly, unless you're expressing and seeing equality, you really can't experience love. No. And they go together. Thank you for saying that. Beautiful. All right, anything else? Okay, how about you guys? Anything that really stuck out for you that you would like to remember before we go into our integration meditation? Okay, well, okay, so I'm going to do announcements, and then we're going to do the integration meditation for a few minutes, where we take the ideas and we use them through meditation and creative visualization. So announcements are, I do 2 live streams a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays, for the time being, I'm here at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center in the Denver metro area. And on Mondays, I do random number generator Miracle Roulette, and 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And then also on Wednesdays from Miracle Park, I do Course in Miracles, the complete and annotated edition, which is the latest edition of A Course in Miracles. Same time, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and that's also a Facebook live stream. Greg does a beautiful class on Tuesdays from Miracle Park, where he does a beautiful synthesis of A Course in Miracles in the Bible, beautiful, powerful channeling class, also from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on Facebook. Also, I'm a holistic psychotherapist, and you can learn about my one-on-one Miracle Psychotherapeutic sessions by going to my website, annakujawa.com, and you can find my phone number from my website, and then text me. It's the best way to reach me for a session. All right. I am ecstatic to see y'all's names and to feel your energy in this healing circle. I appreciate you joining this healing circle so much, for me and for us here, and also for all the world that this circle extends energy to. If you would like to share this message with more, go ahead and post it on your Facebook newsfeed as well. And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, where you can see years worth of classes on my YouTube channel, Anna Kujawa. All right, okay, here we go. So now we're going to do the integration meditation, where we just breathe, listen to the music. And just let the feelings of the truth just percolate. How does it feel to hear these ideas of revelation and miracles, equality and love? Just notice how these ideas feel in your mind, your heart, your emotions, your body, your spirit. Feels so good to listen to the truth, to be released by the truth, to feel the communication and connection that is enabled through the truth. So first, I want you to bring to your awareness a relationship where you had sought for closeness and communication, a physical relationship where you are both in bodies. I want you to bring a physical relationship to your awareness in which the connection and intimacy that you had sought did not bring you satisfaction. It wasn't empowering. It didn't release your creativity. It didn't reduce your fear and doubt. The peace and power and creativity that you sought in that physical relationship did not occur. And there was frustration and sadness and anger and hurt. And take a breath. And now I want you to tell yourself the truth about this relationship. I want you to tell yourself the communion, the communication, the communion, the closeness, the release from doubt and fear that I was seeking in this relationship cannot be found in this physical relationship. The communion, the revelation, the deeper intimacy, the release from fear and doubt, that comes from my communication, my connection with my Creator, my source, who loves me with a love I cannot comprehend. Unspeakable love. And so now let's go ahead and release that person whom you had sought to have that communion, unspeakable love, intimacy with. I want you to release them from guilt. Release them from your trying to get something from them that you can only get from your relationship with your source. Forgive them for what you tried to get from them instead of from your source. And then turn to your source, your creator. Turn within to make contact or to listen to the voice of your source. See how wide you can open your heart to receive this unspeakable love that is pouring forth upon you from your source every second of every minute of every hour of every day. And breathe it in. Now let's go and do what it talked about in terms of how do you really feel that sense of personal closeness to others, which you also deserve. And I want you to bring to your awareness again a relationship where there has been something besides love, where there's fear and doubt, and that we might be able to experience true closeness to others. Let's go ahead and release that person from guilt, from expectation, from our scripts. Let's remember that they are our equals, and let's say to them, I bless you, my equal. We are equal. I release you from the guilt that I gave you as I was trying to get something from you that I thought I didn't have. I am sorry. And I release you from guilt for trying to get something from me that you thought you didn't have because you didn't realize that we are equal. You are innocent. We are the same. We are equal. Creation has given us both the same, equally, the same love, the same power, the same brilliance, the same worth, the same value, the same rights. I see you now as my equal, and I give thanks for you. I'm so grateful that we could come together to learn together that we are equal, we are the same. We need take nothing. We need get nothing. And we no longer need to protect ourselves from each other. We no longer need to protect ourselves from each other. Thank God. I give thanks to you, my equal. And together let us give thanks to our one source who has created us equal and the same. And just notice how this kind of perception feels. When you see your relations this way, when you see yourself in relationship with your source this way, notice how that feels. And breathe that feeling in. This is how we are being prepared to experience the revelation of the unspeakable love that is pouring upon us now and always. I want you to hear your teacher saying, there is nothing about me that you cannot attain. Take that in. Beautiful, very nice. And then when you're ready, just take a deep breath. Bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. Yawn and stretch. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Wonderful. Great practicing. Thank you guys for bringing your bodies out. Thank you to the Miracle Center during this weird time. I appreciate you guys taking the risk. And thank you guys for joining this healing circle. If you're just joining us at the end of this class, feel free to go back to the beginning and enjoy. I appreciate you more than I can say. The whole world thanks you for using your precious time and energy to hear these ideas that they might extend out to you and to the world. Thank you. Let peace extend from my mind to yours.